Hello there, this is CANWAN Kenan from Kenan Plays, and today we're going to play part 9, right? Part 9 of Burokku Girls. Alright, let's just click on this. No, part 8 actually, part 8 of Burokku Girls. Alright, let's click on this. And I think we're going to see Liana today. I know a sense of humor can be difficult, and she loves having people's hand on her a little too much. But as I said, she can be trusted when you need someone to trust. Well, they mean Dawn, right? Well, if you're sure, still, why didn't she when she was healing us anyway? Why did she put our hands on her? It's how she works. She's able to shape and convey some things through her lips, but the bulk of her energy comes from her breasts. No wonder her breasts are so huge, right, guys? Seriously? Well, that is their purpose, to feed others our own energy. It took several seconds for me to process this statement, and after my brain just barely avoided crashing from the imagery this inspired, I was forced to admit that she did have a point there. Well, okay, back to where I came from. I expect something like that to get me being punched in the face. Chuckle, chuckle, chuckle. I think most people would do that in this world as well. Dawn's the only one I know who actively encourage that sort of things. A few seconds passed in awkward silence as the two of us looked at each other, with Asahi's eyes slowly falling onto the table in solemn manner. Takeshi, last night, what you saw the underworld do, they have done it to every village they conquered, and with their victory, their forces get larger while we get weaker. The inside of my stomach twisting the way Asahi spoke, I looked intently even as she met my own gaze. They've already conquered virtually every village we know of, so it's only a matter of time before they come here. And with the forces they already have, I don't see how we can hold them off. Well, we never need to fight before. Our weapons, they are for hunting alone. And Asahi, we're losing this war, Takeshi, and while we're not going to give up, I honestly don't know how much longer we can fight. I guess I'm saying that I hope that your father finds you and bring you back to your world soon, for your sake if nothing else. On one level, I couldn't help but be touched by Asahi's words, but at the same time, I couldn't help but feel like a total heel. You know what? Since they are losing a war, most probably you, being the main character in the game, right, Takeshi, you are supposed to save them, right? Correct? Usually that's what the main character, or when we play game, we do, right? We usually use the hero and save the world, Here she was fighting for the future of a world, while I had the possibility of a way out of this war. One that would leave everyone in this world in the lurch, fighting a war that I could see she felt was already lost. If that happens, you'll be able to escape your own world. Please remember me and this village the way we are now. Because if we lose and we fall into darkness, I want someone to remember us as we are now, as people with our own life, not slaves to depravity and cruelty. Asahi, I can't believe that. Isn't there any way you can win? I mean, you said last night that it was possible to change the ducklings back, right? That's right. But only someone like Dawn can do so, and even then, she only can cure a duckling one at a time. So there we are. And please just promise that if you do manage to escape back to your world, that you will always remember me as I am. You know what? I don't think he'll ever forget you or Dawn. Maybe he'll forget the ninja lady, but most probably he won't forget you, Asahi. Not the thing I'll become if the underworld have their way. As this word sounded, the knots in my stomach became that much tighter, prompting me to come up to my feet and round the table to where Asahi was seated. As she sat there looking solemnly at me, I knelt down to look at her squarely in the eyes. As she looked back, I placed my hands on her shoulder, trying to convey as much as I could. Trying to comfort as much as I could. I promised that I'll remember, but I'd rather try and stop that from happening in the first place. I don't care how many there are of these underworld or ducklings or whatever they are. There has to be a way we can stop them. Several seconds passed before Asahi replied with a sad smile of her own. I want to believe that you're right, but if that's true, then I can't see what that way is. Then let's spend some time trying to come up with some way to beat them. Besides, like you say, I'm involved in this now, and if my dad doesn't show up to take me back home, then my only option is to fight, and for us to win. True? Asahi just looked at me for a time. She just sat there looking at me in complete silence. Then it got to the point where I found myself wondering if I had somewhat said the wrong thing. Before long, a tiny trickle of wetness appeared in her eyes before she could reach forth and wrap her arms about me, pulling me into a hug. Well, I think she needed a hug for a long time now. Thank you, Taki. To be honest, I had no idea what Asahi was thanking me for. I hadn't really done that much, if anything at all. Well, you comforted her, right? But at that moment, I sensed that she really wanted some comfort. I sensed that all she really wanted was some comfort, and so I just returned her embrace in a gentle manner as I could, and let her hold on to me for a while. Well, you know what? Taki is a good boy. Anyway, Takashi shall be called Taki from now onwards. Sounds cuter, right? A short while later, I helped Asahi clean up our breakfast when a familiar presence made herself known. Dawn. So there you two are. Gosh, I kinda expect that you both be sharing a bath by now. Haha. After Asahi and I were done jumping out of our skin, we turned twin looks of annoyance to Dawn, who was grinning shamelessly in return. And you cleaned up. That's nice. Not that you had to, of course. Honestly, I honestly wouldn't have mind doing the cleaning myself if you had more urgent needs to attend to. The first thing I asked myself was if the only thing Dawn ever thought about was hot nookie. What? Alright. The second thing I thought was that a bunny girl, if that wasn't somewhat appropriate. But before I could get around thinking about a third thing, Asahi groaned in annoyance. Dawn, don't do that. How did things go with Liana? She's a bit concerned. She's not about to eject Taki from the village without a good reason, but she does want to make sure he isn't about to stick a knife in any of our backs. True. You know what? Better to be safe than sorry. Fact is, she's right outside my front door with Zen and a whole bunch of guards. I couldn't help but cringe at this thought, something that Asahi noticed. But even as the archer placed a comforting hand on my shoulder, Dawn waved aside my concern. Relax, you two. She just wants to talk. And as soon as she's satisfied that you're not one of the bad guys, you'll be able to go wherever you want in this village without having to put up with Zen and his crew nagging you. That's good, right? Then we might as well do this and get over with Dan. Good idea, so let's just do it. Without another word, Dawn turned on her heels and started forward, and with Asahi and I following a polite distance behind. Whoa, Asahi just vanished to the left. All the while, I tried to ignore the fact that the bunny girl buttocks were basically screaming at me to stare at them the entire time. Whoa, you know what, Taki? You have to focus here. Alright? Well, seems like they don't have proper fire. They have to use some charcoal or something like that, right? Alright, this must be Liana. She looks quite pretty, right? She do have extremely large breasts or boobs though. But you know what? She's like a cowboy, and I guess this is her hat though. Well, she looks very cute. As soon as we reached the front door, Dawn opened it up to reveal a woman standing a short distance away, as well as Zen and several guards. As I took in her figure, I found myself a bit surprised, for while she had every bit the hourglass figure that Asahi had, if not Dawn, She showed no cleavage, no leg. Her clothing, though definitely different from that of Earth, was reserved and businesslike. Well, finally a girl that isn't that revealing. And for a moment I found myself worrying that perhaps I was getting a bit too used to being surrounded by scantily clad lovies. Hello, I'm Liana, head of Kehe Village. As Liana spoke, I found myself a bit reassured. Her voice was definitely cautious, but overall seems kind and fair. Not the kind of person who would bounce me out my butt without giving me a fair chance. Well, that's true. Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Taki. I know I've been told. Taki, before we begin, I want to understand that I'm deeply grateful to you for bringing Asahi back home to us. For whatever else she has always been a kind and brave person, one of our most devout soldiers in this war. Devout, is it? And to lose her in addition to everyone else we've lost, there was something Liana wasn't saying, but much I could tell. Even more, I could tell by the way Asahi's expression fell that there was more than I wasn't being told. Well, seems like she's quite sad now. And he's like, this is not my problem, guys. It's not my problem, guys. I'm still holding the knife. But before I could say anything, Liana continued. All that being said, these are troubled times for us all. And blind trust, especially of strangers, is something we cannot afford. And so I would like to learn more about you, including where you came from and how you came to be in our lands, a person whose garb is completely unlike anything previously seen in any of the village we know of. Well, I'll tell you what I can, though I'm not sure you believe what I have to say. All I ask is that you tell the truth, nothing more. If you don't mind, I would like to get started with... Blah! Liana stumbled forward, tripped on something, and she's gonna land flat on my face again. Acting on pure instinct, I moved to catch her, but amidst of her whirling her limbs about in an effort to regain her balance, I knew this would happen. I knew it. You know what? Flat in his face again. She crashed into me chest first, with my face caught between the set of ample breasts. For what felt like the 100th time since my arrival, I was suddenly too stunned to do anything except allow myself to crash down my back, with Liana standing sprawled on top of me. You know what? Most probably, Candy programmed her to fall on the character or something like that. Whoa! She fell again. Liana, are you alright? Although I couldn't see what was happening, I could definitely hear Zen and a few other people moving about. A moment or so later, Liana was put off me, assisted back onto her feet. As I was laying there, I wondering why no one has bothered to help me up. Asahi and Dawn unknowingly answered my question by coming to my aid. Oh, I'm sorry, Taki. I tended to be a bit clumsy. I tend to be a bit clumsy when I'm anxious. No, it was an accident. I understand. Oh, you poor thing. You've really been having it rough lately, haven't you? Don't worry, I'll have you feeling all better. The naughty tone in Dawn's voice was all the warning I had before I could hear her top popping open. What? Top popping open? Boing boing boing. Looking about, I saw the bunny girl grabbing my hands, planting them squarely upon her breast again. Oh, what? No. You don't need to do that right now, you know. That was all I had a chance to get out before Dawn grabbed me by the back of my head and put my lips onto her own. Wow, that's fast. And once again, my head felt as fluffy as cotton as delirious warmth flowed through me, pumped through my hands. But even as I was losing myself in the experience, Dawn was yanked off me by Zen. As I staggered backwards, I realized that Zen had been the one who had done the yanking. Well, good job, Zen. With all due respect, Dawn, we have much work to do. We don't have time for you to indulge yourself. or an untested stranger to our village for that matter. He's right, Don. You'll be able to tend to him later. For now, we need to take care of more immediate business. My apologies, Taki, however. No, I understand. I just want to get this over with. As do I, Don. Could you take us someplace where I can properly question Taki? Sure, no problem. Even as she finished buttoning her top, Don guided us back to the dining area. Where's the button A? Do she release it here or release it here? I wonder. Then I sat down on one side of the table with Liana sitting opposite. Don stood nearby, and from a greater distance, Asahi, Zen, and the guards looked on. Taki, I'm gonna ask you a series of questions to which I expect an answer, either yes or no. Do you understand? It was like a scene out of a dozen movie, a lie detector test. Well, it's like, have you killed anyone before? Are you a virgin? I'm not sure what she's gonna ask. As I understood it, Don was the lie detector. Sure, no problem. First, I'm gonna ask you two simple questions. I want you to answer truthfully. The second, I want you to lie. Alright, so this is like a lie detector test, it's the same. They ask you to they ask you a true question, and then they ask you a fake question, and when you tell the truth, when you lie, just to set the parameters for the testing right. Are you a male? Yes. The instant I said this, Don rabbit ears straightened up almost as rigid as a flag post. Taking note of this, Liana nodded before looking at me. Are you wearing clothes? And I remember you are to lie? No. This time Don's bunny ears fell to the side of her head. As Liana took note of this, she nodded in satisfaction. Very well, let's proceed. Alright, looks like everything is synced up. And with that, Liana began what I suppose was intended to be a gentle interrogation, but ultimately proved to be not only tedious but grueling as well. She asked me a whole bunch of questions, and to my relief, they all aimed to make sure I wasn't an underworlder, and I had nothing to do with the underworld, and that I wasn't going to try and betray K Village to the underworld or anyone else for that matter. Finally, after what felt like a virtual eternity, Liana nodded and rose up from her seat. Thank you for your time and trouble, Taki. It seems your concerns were baseless then. Just because he isn't the underworlder doesn't mean he isn't a threat. Why don't you ask him where he came from as I requested? Because our guest's origins aren't important at the moment. What is important is his intentions, and according to Zen, he bear no malice, so I see no reason why we should bear him any. Well, that's right, you know what? They seem awfully fair to Taki, right? They don't even ask him where he came from. But as long as his intention is okay, you know what, they are fine. So I think they are actually very, very, very nice people. And Zen, he's just being cautious. But if he's being overly cautious, right, he might cause some problem too, unless for some reason. Whoa, I think we just missed something. Let's go back. So unless you're implying that my ears aren't working for some reason, Zen did not say anything. But the face he made at this is clear he wasn't at least pleased about any of these, leaving me with a bad feeling that I had the best toe in line, at least where he was concerned. If you wish for him to be allowed to stay, then I won't argue with it anymore. So you know what, guys? It has been settled. Taki is a good guy. And you know what? And it's about to reach 20 minutes to this video, so I have to stop here. And thank you for watching part 8, is it? Part 8 of Burokku Girls with me, and I'll see you in the next part. Thank you for watching, and goodbye! Whoa. Did you get scared? Well, subscribe to my channel, and I promise you'll never get scared again. Or watch more videos, and you will be able to find your peace in life.